Welcome back to another episode of Yeah, No Thanks, the greatest podcast that no one has ever heard of yet, where two friends discuss different topics, daily happenings, and give our review. Is it a yeah? Is it a no thanks? Or is it something else? We're not really constricted, we don't really have a plan, and we are jumping right into things. Zach, my co-host, Zach Israelson, how are you today?
I am doing well. Obviously, I'm probably not doing as well as I thought because I just really spaced out saying I am doing well. But it has been a very interesting day where, we're still locked down here in quarantine. So a lot of exciting things happening, nonstop new things popping up in our lives, like nothing at all.
Nothing at all. Nothing to do day to day, but that's what we're here for. We're going to get everybody through some stuff with some recommendations as far as some movies you can check out, TV series, and some general news that has popped up that I don't think Zach's heard of. We'll find out, but don't think I introduced myself. I am Chris Sallas. I'm the other part of this podcast.
Mm-hmm. He is the no thanks part. I am the yeah part.
That is a great way to describe this dynamic because, yeah, I'm going to say no thanks to a lot of shit. And you're typically more positive than I am. Very pessimistic. But we have a lot to get into today. I'm going to jump into some news, and later on we're going to talk about the films that are available to watch now from S. Craig Zahler, however you say his fucking name.
I like Zahler. I think even if it is Zahler, do you know what? Well, I'm going to go Zahler the entire time.
Zahler's cooler.
I think he'd be upset if we met him and it is Zahler and we just nonstop. It's like, oh, Zahler, it's so nice to meet you.
Zahler.
His name is Zahler.
It's Zahler, you motherfuckers.
Zahler, that's what I said.
Zahler. Think of it what you will, however you want to decipher it. But his three films that he has directed, starting out with Bone Tomahawk, Brawl, and Cell Block 99, Dragged Across Concrete. But we'll get into that. I want to go into something that Zach said he's not very good at, which is thinking on the spot. I'm going to pop up some news here that happened today, Zach. I want to get your opinions. I'm also going to give kind of my opinion pretty much on the spot as well.
Perfect. And just to preface, even if this came out a couple days ago, I don't believe in the news anyway. I decide.
Great point.
Yep, I decide what is news in my own world. So most of the stuff I'm sure I probably skipped over. Also, as we said before, I like happiness. I'm a big happy-go-lucky guy. A lot of sadness out in the world nowadays at this time. So to be honest, good or bad, I just kind of run and hide from it. So I'm ready for it.
I would say mostly sad out there. It's a real depressing place that's right in the pocket that I live in. So I'm feeling comfy. I'm feeling cozy. I'm moving and shaking with it all. But again, two things that happened today. This is May 19th as of this recording. First one, I want to kick it a little close to home. Mr. Joseph Rogan came out and announced today that at the end of the year, his podcast will exclusively be available on Spotify.
Lame.
Signed a licensing deal.
Lame.
I can't remember. I think he said audio version may be available other places, but like video moving completely to Spotify. So you're giving that a lame to start out.
Damn it. All right, so that is news I did not hear, and that actually is news I care about. So Joe Rogan, if you guys are listening to us and you're not listening to Rogan, interesting, probably to say the least.
Ballsy move.
Yep. Rogan has a fantastic podcast. Love his setup, his style, just the way he does everything. And also, I love Rogan. Rogan is just his podcast is great because of him. This are my thoughts though. I have never hate the hustle. So you know what? I'm sure he's making an ass load, and let me repeat that: an ass load.
His licensing deal is worth $100 million.
Yes, I'd take back my lames. Do you know what? You are an idiot if you don't take that deal. So
Joe, get the bag, bro.
Yeah, exactly. That is insane. $100 million. Woo! That is a lot.
It's incredible. Yeah, so it's he said basically September 1st it's going to be available on Spotify. Then at the end of the year it will move exclusively, so it won't be available anywhere else.
Hearing that $100 million, immediately I was aroused. Immediate arousal. It's a good thing that we have some space between this table.
Yeah, I think the table on your side lifted up a little bit. I'm a little concerned.
I mean, I'll be totally honest, we can't flatter myself that much. That was definitely my knee raising up.
True. But yeah, it's crazy. When I first heard it, I did not like it. Because I don't really use Spotify at all. I'm an Apple podcast guy. Mm-hmm. I listen to SoundCloud if I'm forced to. Really don't like that either. I'd rather everything be easy. YouTube, Apple Podcasts, that's my go-to. So I'm definitely going to, I mean, I hope it's available for free. It's probably going to be littered with ads, even more than YouTube has, that I'd have to sift through if I don't want to pay for it, and I really don't want to pay for it.
Me either.
So it's kind of put me in a bind. So for me, it's a no thanks. It's a no thanks. Stick to YouTube, man. I like it better. I know that, content-wise, he can probably get away with a lot more now. He said that they're not going to interfere with any of the creative stuff in it at all. So let's see how that goes.
Fingers crossed. Yep, I would agree. I think my thoughts are for the Rogan podcast. Yes, I would give that a no thanks. To Joe Rogan himself, yes, 100%. You just made $100 million, sir. I can't really be mad at you.
I'll never give a no thanks to Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan is one of the greatest in the game. He's so awesome.
And he's always drinking coffee. He's always smoking dope. He's drinking.
He's getting into it. He's always getting into it. And he's not afraid to speak his mind and then have little Jamie just type away at his keyboard and fact check. I love it. Jamie, can you pull that up, Jamie?
Is that right?
Can you pull up a Jamie moment, Jamie? So I know that happened today. Something that I think is a little less relevant to our lives and maybe speaks to it happening. Pier 1 Imports announced that due to the COVID emergency, they will be closing all 540 of their retail stores. I believe they're going to stick to doing online stuff, but Pier 1 Imports, I don't.
That's right. I'm throwing some bankruptcy facts
so they
on you,
applied
folks.
They applied to get assistance from the government, cool. And then they also filed bankruptcy, I believe, a few months back. So with everything happening, I don't know. I'm on fucking NPR, and good Lord, they don't give you any fucking relevant details.
Pier 1 will be just fine by the end of this pandemic.
Pier 1 has moved exclusively into an online retail store. I fucking hate it. I'm going to give a no thanks to NPR.
Yeah, sorry.
No,
NPR, if I want to take a nap, or honestly, NPR, the one good thing that it's good for is if I'm ever sad, I'm like, man, I kind of miss home. I miss my family.
Mm-hmm.
I'll throw NPR on. Boom, my grandma. Immediately, she's right there. I'm like, I've listened to so much MF and NPR with my grandma that it is unreal, and I can't see anything except for her when I hear.
Oh God!
And now we'll get back to our regular scheduled programming.
Scheduled program. So, I mean, what do you think of Pier 1 in general? I mean, how often have you shopped at Pier 1 in, say, the last 5 to 10 years?
So, I mean, unfortunately for Pier 1, I am a Sears guy. And you know what? That doesn't bode very well either, because I believe Sears is also headed right down the...
I think Sears has been tumbling down the mountain for a year now.
For quite some time, yeah. So, I honestly don't even know if I've ever stepped foot in a Pier 1.
I've stepped foot into one, and then I quickly turned back because I'd realized what I've done. It's not very great, man. I even looked it up. So in my mind, I had kind of thought that they were a home decor, which they are a home decor place, but more of discounted items and stuff. I went on their website after seeing that they're closing down. These fuckers are price gougers.
Ugh.
Oh my God.
The worst kind of folk.
It's awful. I mean, everything is over $200, even just simple little tables. It's really dumb. And you know what? I get why they're closing. I give a no thanks to Pier 1 Imports as well. I wanted to start off the bat with a couple pessimistic things on my end.
Yeah, I'm going to go no thanks with Pier 1 Imports too. I don't care for their logo.
Their logo's terrible. Their logo, if you've never seen their logo, it looks like it's for a independent fishing shop on the coast of Florida, but not any of the parts of Florida you want to go to. Mm-hmm. Just that blue with the white font that's kind of just pasted on there. So
yeah.
Yeah, I was honestly surprised Pier 1 was still open when I saw the news.
I would agree, and honestly, now that I'm looking at it too, I mean, if I'm going to go somewhere, I'm hitting up the Pottery Barn for sure, or maybe the Crate and Barrel. Come on, give me some classics.
Mm-hmm. Amazon Essentials. Give me the $2 mattress. Throw it on my bed frame. I'll be good to go. I don't need the super fancy stuff. I'm not at that point in my life.
That's true. As long as I'm not on the ground, and by that I mean you could probably even just throw a tarp over the ground. Technically, I'm no longer on the ground.
True.
I can sleep there.
Yeah, you know what? I've slept in worse, for sure. So yeah, just wanted to run those by you. So a great couple no thanks things right off the bat, but a fuck yes for Joe Rogan.
Yes.
So tally those up.
And it totals up to Rogan comes out on top yet again
Rogan
with $100 million out of fucking nowhere.
It's amazing. Good God. I mean, just imagine what he was making before, and
I'm
really
once again
hurts.
aroused.
Yeah.
At that time, it wasn't my knee. Wink, wink.
Oh, awesome. Well, moving from there, wanted to give the people a little entertainment recommendation, maybe discrediting. Don't know where our opinions will fall. A few movies that are available right now from director, again, his name is S. Craig Zahler. Zahler, whatever the fuck it is. First came out 2015 with a movie called Bone Tomahawk. Stars Kurt Russell, a few other individuals. Patrick Wilson is in it. Richard Jenkins is in it. Just Matthew Fox from Lost fucking cropped up in there as a little prancy gentleman, I guess is what you would call him. I don't know.
Got a great mustache.
A fantastic mustache. David Arquette makes a brief appearance. Just a great, great cast all around. Western / horror, I would say, is how you would describe this. I believe it's available right now on Prime Video. Is that where we watched it at?
Yeah, I think it was Prime.
I think it was
that
Prime.
Sounds right. Yeah, and honestly, before we get into the review of the movie, I think I would like to kind of let everybody know where this came from, because I'm sure that you're hearing, okay, these guys can't even pronounce this guy's last name. Zoller,
that's a great
Ziller.
point.
There's no I. Ziller's definitely not right. But anyway, you're wondering where did this come from? So we were just kind of scrolling through movies the other day. I think we were both all in the mood for okay, let's just watch something that has some good action. I think we had watched Extraction, so we were kind of like, all right, we're in an action mood. And as we're scrolling, we come across just the most angry-looking Vince Vaughn I've ever seen in my life.
Yep, skinhead.
Yep, skinhead Vince Vaughn.
Totally bald. And it. Before we kind of go into that movie, it's something that I had heard of a few years ago, but one of those things you hear of it and it kind of dies down. You just never really think about it. But that was Brawl in Cell Block 99.
Yep, absolutely. And we'll get into that movie, but it definitely gave us just what we're looking for. The name itself already lets you know exactly what's coming. It's just called a big, fat ass whooping coming from Mr. Double V, Vinny Vaughn.
Yeah, and the titles of the movies, once we kind of, I think maybe we should just kind of give a premise on each movie. Here's general info, and then kind of discuss them. But the titles really play an important role in these as well, that I found after watching all three movies. So we watched Brawl in Cell Block 99. That's when we kind of got turned on to this director. Didn't really know a ton about him individually, but then we had actually then stumbled across the movie that came out after Brawl in Cell Block 99, so we watched things a little out of order.
Yep. And truthfully, we still don't know a lot about him, but just to give you guys a quick
little to
bio,
nothing.
a little bit about what I just learned about him in the last 10 seconds. He's also a writer. He has written a plethora of books. Did not know that.
He's written books?
Oh, yeah. He's got full novels out there. He's got a solid 5 full novels. He's also a musician. He did the soundtrack for Bone Tomahawk himself, actually.
Interesting.
Yep.
I'll have to
very
go back
interesting.
And,
And he's signed to Lakeshore Records. Do I know what Lakeshore Records is? Nope. And
not even remotely.
I'm going to dive in. Is it anything? No?
So, yeah, it's crazy because I even looked at his writer credits. So, obviously, he wrote Bone Tomahawk, Brawl in Cell Block 99, Dragged Across Concrete. He also wrote the sequel to the Puppet Master movie, horror movie called Puppet Master: The Littlest Reich. Not really sure what that's about. The title does concern me initially. It's got a 5.4 out of 10 on IMDb. Hour-and-a-half horror comedy with, oh my God, Thomas Lennon from Reno 911 fame. May have to watch that.
Reich?
The Littlest Reich. All hell breaks loose when a strange force animates the puppets up for auction at a convention, setting them on a bloody killing spree that is motivated by an evil as old as time. I would imagine Nazis.
I would agree with that. Oh,
wow.
Man.
All right, so that doesn't look like it would quite be in the same tier as these other three films.
I think you guys can skip that one, to be totally honest.
Yeah, without seeing it, I think we can gloss over that one.
Yeah, not looking super hot.
Yeah. Oof. But so that's crazy that he writes full novels. But the release of these films, Bone Tomahawk 2015, Brawl in Cell Block 99, I believe in 2017, and then 2018, Dragged Across Concrete was released. All around the 2.5 hour mark, closer to 2 hours for the first two films. Dragged Across Concrete was a little, longer, about 2 hours, 40 minutes. So they're definitely things you have to strap in for, just right off the bat. But yeah, we watched them out of order. Second one we watched first, third one we watched second, and then finally Bone Tomahawk to kind of round everything out. So I guess we can, you want to start with Bone Tomahawk and kind of move through it from there?
I think that makes the most sense. And so Bone Tomahawk for me, and I think I have to go back and rewatch. I think I enjoyed Bone Tomahawk the most because I like the storyline of Bone Tomahawk the most. The other two movies are just very kind of like realistic, I guess, for the most part. It's just like, okay, this is like every day. Where Bone Tomahawk, yes, I guess like it's possible that happens, but to me that was like a good storytelling, just kind of the story, the idea behind it. So I really enjoyed the premise of Tone Bomahawk, Beep Bop Boo
Tone Loke,
Scooba Doop, Zooba Doop. Something like that. I think that's about how it goes. Excuse myself, everybody.
Yeah.
But Bone Tomahawk, I thought was fantastic. Also, I'm a big sucker for Kurt Russell. So that immediately got me sucked in the cast. And I like Westerns. You know what? I like Westerns. I'm a sucker for Westerns.
I do too.
So across the board got me sucked in. And then very shortly after we started watching, and by very shortly after I mean within the first 10 seconds, the scene opens with a guy basically trying to cut a guy's throat with like the dullest of dull blades.
Yeah.
It literally looks like
David
a butter
Arquette.
knife. Yeah. And I mean, it sets the scene very early.
It is
exactly what you're getting into.
It's so brutal. So this guy, in a lot of ways, and I'll kind of talk as we go through the films here, but a lot of ways reminds me of Quentin Tarantino in his style. And with that, brutal violence. I mean, it doesn't typically link. There's usually one scene in each of these movies that is really violent and it lingers for just a little too long. And then the rest of it is like quick shots. It's not, it's close your eyes for a few seconds if it's not your thing and you can get through it. So it reminded me of that a lot. And yeah, just to open it up with the dull blade sawing through. And he also exaggerates the sounds in all of his movies with the violence too. A later scene in this movie that I did close my eyes for, and I'll admit it right now, I don't fucking care. The sounds that I had to listen to, even with my eyes closed, were brutal to get through.
Yeah, and we'll jump right into it. I'll let you guys know. The scene he's talking about is essentially the premise of the movie is there are kind of like the small, little western town that has a few members of their group that are stolen in the middle of the night. They're stolen by cannibals.
And they don't know why initially.
They have no idea why. They have no idea who did it either. They've just been taken, essentially.
Yep.
And so, Kurt Russell is kind of the sheriff. He's, gets on his horse, realizes, all right, I need to go figure out, we got to save these people.
Leads a ragtag group, and that's the main group. It's Matthew Fox from Lost. It's Patrick Wilson from a number of things that you probably recognize him from. Yeah. And then Richard Jenkins, who's fantastic. Father and Step Brothers. Yeah. Fantastic actor. Love him.
Can't recognize him almost at all in this movie, which is awesome.
He's bearded, crazy hair. Love him, though.
Yeah.
Super great. But yeah, the scene that it goes into is, they find their way to the hideout where the cannibals are, and through a series of events, a couple guys get captured. While they're captured, they're across a cage from the main girl, who's Patrick Wilson's wife, that was kidnapped, and then one other guy from the town. I can't really remember his role. I think his name was like Jeff.
Yeah.
Who fucking
just
knows?
Some dude.
Just Jeff. Well, as soon as she reveals to, the lead cast that David Arquette has unfortunately already been eaten by the cannibals drag out Jeff from cage, and what ensues is the worst thing ever.
Oh yeah, he proceeds to first get fully scalped.
And I mean, it's also, this is one camera angle.
Yeah, one camera
It's a camera that's posted in Kurt Russell's cage where they are focused on them, and
he gets scalped. Then after he gets scalped, I believe that they cut off his nuts. They cut off his
I didn't
dick.
see that part.
Gone?
Did they really? No. What did they? No, they shoved some sort of like tube in his mouth. I didn't see. That's when I closed. After the scalping, I was like, yeah, I see where this is going, and I closed my eyes. But I did see them shove some sort of tube.
Yeah, they shoved a tube into his mouth, which I think is supposed to help the blood go out of his mouth.
By the way, folks, you may want to skip about 30 seconds if you're not really into this being described. Yeah, just to let you know. But
But it needs to be done because, trust me, it's vivid. It's vivid in my mind.
It is.
Vivid memories.
And honestly, in the movie, I mean, I'll spoil my overall review. I really enjoyed it.
Great
this
movie.
scene, skip it. Skip it. It's
you can turn away.
Oh my god,
you can,
it's
and
so
they do.
bad.
And I will say, you see it coming. You see it coming from a mile away, so you can go to the bathroom. You can go elsewhere while this is happening, and it's quick enough.
Quick. Yeah, I'd say a full minute and a half.
Yeah.
It's a quick 90. So just wait until the awful sound stop. But they basically, I'm pretty sure after they do the tube thing, they flip them over and then they
upside
cut
down.
them in half.
Yeah, they cut him in half. They kind of give a couple of hacks.
Yeah, it's
and then
not
the
fast.
two guys basically
grab
him by his legs and just wishbone him in half.
Yep, I remember that sound.
So
I stopped watching.
It was very, very loud, very violent. Also, I mean, I got to be honest, kudos to the two guys, though, that ripped him in half. I mean, trust me, they did most of the heavy work there. You can say when you watch it, hey, they had a little help. This guy started cutting him in half. No. I remember, it's a lot of work. I mean, impressively, these guys basically just ripped a guy in half.
I'm getting a little
kudos to
again
that.
Thinking about it. Oh, it was torturous, but you get through it. But that's what I mean, just brutal violence. But everything else in the movie really, like even the opening scene, they don't really linger on it. Like he does. It's quick for a few seconds, but it's quick. And everything else really is quick too. It's like gunshot, arrow through a body part. Patrick Wilson repeatedly fucking up his broken ankle.
Nonstop.
And every time Richard Jenkins is like, I mean, you're going to die from that ankle unless you let me cut it off. And he's like, well, you ain't cutting it off because I like two of my feet, not one.
And in all honesty, I kind of think about it. Yeah, it wasn't done very quickly, but if I, in front of, I don't know, I'm just trying. It's very hard for me to put myself in that position. What would I do if I was about to get ripped in half? I don't know.
I'd say just stab me in the head first, like make sure I'm not alive for it.
Can I rewatch it after I'm dead? Can I watch myself get ripped in half? Because in all honesty, I might put it.
Why would you want to?
Because it's badass.
I mean, I don't know about that.
It's. I mean, people, don't get me wrong here. Obviously, it wasn't that much fun to watch, but just in theory, when I'm thinking about it, if I could go back and rewatch myself getting ripped in half many times, I would. I think I would wear it as a badge of honor. Either in heaven or hell, whatever one I got put in, because I like to believe I'm going to heaven, but you never know.
You never do know.
If I went to hell, I would not want that, actually, because now that I think about it, if the people in hell know that I got ripped in half, imagine the things they're going to do to me. I totally changed my mind.
In general, hell, not a great time, from what I hear. But
this probably happens in hell.
We cannot disagree more on this topic. There's nothing I would want to see less than this happening to myself, or just this happening to myself in general. I just wouldn't want it to happen. I never want to see this scene again. I honestly would rewatch this movie because I know when it happens, so I can just quickly fast forward through it. But I mean, this was my bias going into this movie. This is why I waited so long to watch this movie. I don't like cannibal shit. No, I do not like it at all.
I don't care for cannibal shit, but honestly, and I'm sorry, I'm very sucked into this image of me getting ripped in half.
I don't know why.
Okay, let me paint the scene for you.
Don't paint it with anything.
I'm right in the front of the pearly gates. People are, I haven't gotten in yet. I'm almost in. I'm almost in.
I need a second. I did not expect this to be the setting that we were.
Yeah, I'm there. I'm knocking on the door. I'm talking to Peter and Gabriel.
Wait, there's a door and a gate? How many fucking entrances to heaven are there?
Dude, God's got that. He got that shit locked down. He's making sure, hey, nobody's getting in and nobody's getting out again.
Meet Peter by the pearly doors.
Yeah, he saw Lucifer sneak out. He's like, that mofo just created a whole nother world. Trust me, nobody's getting out of here either. So he's got that shit is locked down.
He's got
super lock and key.
That dummy security door, like Uncut Gems, and Adam Sandler just locks people. He's like, well, now you can't go anyway.
Yeah, and half the time, you can't get in or out. You're just trapped there. He's got a good setup. Trust me.
All right, so we're at the pearly gates.
Yeah, so I'm at the pearly gates by the door to get into the pearly gates.
I like it.
And they're kind of, he looks at me. He says, how? Obviously he already knows, but he looks. He's like, all right, how did you go? And not only do I get to say I was ripped in half, I pull out a little remote, almost like click, and I can like rewind it. So like, and then like I can just keep going right back to when I'm getting.
See, so we said you're talking to Peter at this point.
Yeah, or Gabriel.
Okay. Or Gabriel. So I would imagine that one of
both
them is
the
like
band.
they're probably like yeah. Peter Gabriel and Simon and Garfunkel meet you at the pearly gates.
They're all there.
They're all there. The whole gang's back. I just, I can't imagine that after you pull out a video like, look how awesome this is, that either one would be like, oh yeah, and you still get to come to heaven now. They'd be like, well, unfortunately,
You seem very proud to have been ripped in half.
yeah, and that kind of sadistic thinking is not really prevalent up here, and the big guy doesn't really like it as much as you would think.
Yeah, I could see that because I was thinking of more of like when you watch like a video of like somebody slipping and falling, you rewind back to like right with their moment of impact, like you know, that's kind of what I'm thinking of, like just I'll find back and
I just think it's that thing that I even have when I watch videos on the internet, which is it's funny to see dumb people get hurt for dumb things, but I don't like to know that they're actually hurt. Like I like the video to cut right before, it gets a little graphic, whereas the video doesn't turn on until it gets graphic.
True. That's very true.
So yeah, overall I'm going to give that scene a no thanks.
Understandable.
But the movie in general, I mean, the acting is incredible. I love Matthew Fox in this role. He's, a heavy breather in Lost. He's kind of annoying. I didn't really care for him that much, but this movie's great. I did not know that this was only shot in 21 days. That's a pretty quick turnaround.
That's incredible, actually, hearing that. All right. I liked the movie before. I liked the movie a lot more, actually, hearing that.
Yeah.
That's really impressive that they
21 days. I mean, the visuals are great. The cinematography is fantastic. Really, I mean, the long shots of the countryside that they walk across, or just the shots of, I remember they have a lingering shot of the three on horseback in line in tow. I mean, just great cinematography. The acting is fantastic. I mean, the movie, 2 hours, 12 minutes, doesn't really linger. It's, I would say, one of the only movies of his that doesn't linger for very long.
Yes.
You get enough deep conversations for characterization. You care about these characters a lot, so when shit happens, it really affects you. So I mean, overall, I really dug this movie, and obviously after seeing the first two, I just became more of a fan of his work. Wow, he wrote this in 2007, and award winner 2015 London Film Festival. So I mean, it definitely got some.
This one, I think, this definitely got him on the map. But yeah, I would agree. I give this a yeah for sure. I liked it, and again, we'll get into the other movies. The other movies are good, but this is definitely was my favorite of the three.
Also interesting, this movie tied with Brawl and Cell Block 99, 7.1 on IMDb.
Okay.
I give this movie a hell yeah. It's a great movie, fantastic. I honestly.
Block?
No, Bone Tomahawk.
Okay,
still,
okay.
yeah, just to wrap that up. Obviously, I don't think I gave my official, but I would even give it like 7.5 out of 10. I think that's a little low, 7.1 for it. But overall, great movie. Definitely recommend it. Check it out for sure. Just know whenever Jeff is sitting in the cell and they drag him out of the cell, that now's a good time to take a little break from the movie, wait for the screams to end, and then you're good to go.
Yep. It just, again, it's clear what is coming. And I will say, honestly, in all three of these movies, he does a pretty good job for the most part. He sets you up to knock you down with exactly what you think is about to knock you down.
Yeah. And just as kind of a foreshadowing for the other two movies, but again, what I mentioned about the name of the movie really coming into play, Bone Tomahawk comes big time into play. It's how Kurt Russell ends up not escaping, I would say, but helping for everyone to escape.
Yeah. Helping others.
Yet another just really crazy violent scene of him going toe-to-toe with those two cannibals. The scene with the whiskey flask.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot about that.
That was, the last scene where he actually grabs the tomahawk and chops the guy's foot off. So that was the big thing, is he gets a bone. That's what he uses to basically save the day. Another pretty violent scene, but it doesn't linger too much on that one.
No.
Yeah.
It's a good place to keep your booze.
That one left some scars. I'm not gonna lie. The other two, I'm totally cool with as far as the violence. It's not too horrible.
Not as bad.
We'll definitely jump into it. We're gonna move into the second one, but the first one that we saw, Brawl and Cell Block 99.
Yeah, buddy.
Another 2 hour 12-minute. He was really humming on that 2 hour 12-minute mark with this one. 2017. So this is a couple years after.
Honestly, that makes sense too, because you remember the last 12 minutes of the movie where it's just Vince Vaughn walking but he walks for 12 minutes just to get to that 12 minutes or
That's
2
pretty
hours and
true.
20.
That's
Just
pretty true.
12
Yeah,
minutes
he
of
does
him
just
walking.
walk.
He
It's
gives a couple middle
badass.
fingers to some people. I think one was a child. Drops his drawers, takes a shit. Maybe I'm thinking of a different
Hopefully not
movie.
in front of the child. I think you're thinking of a home movie.
I do recall that one now.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, yes.
So this one, I mean, the synopsis on it stars Vince Vaughn. Other than that, I mean, you'll recognize, well, Don Johnson, I forgot, is the warden in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Don Johnson murders this role. I fucking love Don Johnson. Great in this role.
Don Johnson's in the other movie, too, isn't he?
He is, yeah, and
forgot
Dragged
about
Across
that.
Concrete,
Oh,
absolutely.
Yeah, old Donnie boy.
Other than that, you may recognize, like, what's her name? Jennifer Carpenter from Dexter. She played Deb.
Her name's Deb. I don't care what her
yeah,
birth name is. Her God-given name is Deb.
Exactly. Her name really is Deb. Everybody else, you probably won't recognize. Those are the main people. But essentially, it's about a former boxer turned drug runner who lands in prison after a deal basically goes south, and is then offered I can't remember. It's a contract or a way out of kind of his. So essentially what happens, he goes into a drug deal that turns bad, and then basically he gets an ultimatum from the dealer that he needs to murder this man in prison, and if he does, then he
will get out, but if he doesn't, he's going to kill his wife.
He's going to kill his wife.
He kidnaps, he kidnaps old Deb.
I forgot about the kidnapping.
Yeah,
we are so
kidnaps
good
Deb.
at giving synopses of movies that we've seen.
That's why we need both of us here, because
we piece it together.
Yeah.
By
ourselves, good luck.
Basically, what I love about this movie is it finally recognizes and showcases that Vince Vaughn is like 6'9".
Yes.
And just an absolute hoss of a human being.
Fucking shit brick house.
In this movie, it essentially starts out, one of the first scenes is him literally beating up a car. He tears a car door off. He like smashes the windows. He like almost flips the car on its side.
Yeah.
Because he is just this massive dude who, I mean, again, former boxer, but just a brick house of a guy.
Yeah. Huge. And again, like you said, finally just you get to see Vince Vaughn in, the body God put him in. The only other time I can even think of it where it like pays off is in Wedding Crashers at the end of the movie where he just pops Sack right in the face.
Yep.
That's the one time where I'm like, okay, why do we not get to see Vince Vaughn do this more often?
Unload a few haymakers.
Yeah, I was like, it makes sense that he just stood up, jumped over, threw one punch, because when you're 6'5", 6'6", like he is, 250 pounds, that right hook, that's going to be feasting. That's going to be eating.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he was in the comedy game for so long.
Mm-hmm.
I think really I almost think what kind of paved the way for him to go into these more like action drama movies was True Detective, because it showed a little bit more that he could actually do dramatic acting no matter how you feel about how the season went. Overall, speaking of, a character ending something by walking a long time.
Hashtag truth.
But yeah, I mean, just a brick house in this movie. He's a badass. This I really feel like it really wasn't that violent up until the very end. Few broken arms, but you don't really see it very much. Basically, how he gets into cell block 99, which is where this prisoner is being held, is by beating up other prisoners, breaking their arms, typically guards as well.
Whoop some ass on some guards.
Because cell block 99 is this like maximum security section of the prison, so you have to be a real fucking crazy dude to go there. So he basically starts out the movie. He's married to Deb. One of the worst TV actresses I've seen in Dexter, but
Deb, you're garbage.
Serviceable in this movie, I would say. Don't think she was too bad. She was pretty good.
She fits pretty good in here. Yeah.
Did it very well. Next movie as well, Dragged Across Concrete. She's in. I would say for her scenes, very good.
Love it.
But for this movie, starts out they're married. Again, he's a former boxer, but he's now doing drug running. Gets this assignment from these dudes. That's basically like, hey, take these guys to the drug deal, make sure everything's cool, come back, you'll be paid for, you'll have all this money, and then you'll be good to go. Pretty much, I think it's like the last deal.
Pretty much, yeah. I think it was like if he gets this done, it was going to be big enough money, he could kind of be off and, do his own thing, start his family.
Yep, exactly. So, because they're going to have a baby.
Yep.
That's what it is.
Baby, that's big time.
So, basically, drug deal goes horribly wrong.
Yep.
He's also partnered with two absolute assholes from the drug runners.
Yep.
Goes bad, cops bust it. Vince Vaughn gets a little taste of heroism in his blood, I guess. He has the clear way to walk away from this drug deal where they're shooting out with the cops, can get away clean, but he goes back and kills the 2 drug dealers.
He doesn't like them.
He hated them.
He doesn't care for them, so he risks his own life and understandably knowing he's probably going to go to jail.
Yeah.
Just so he can get a couple of last shots in at those mofos.
Yeah, exactly. Which whatever. I guess he had personal vendettas, and it did kind of show he had a temper problem. So those guys kind of ragging on him makes sense that he would not care for them.
Yeah, and he was kind of deep down like a good guy. Like he got into the drug running stuff because he got laid off of his normal job. He was not trying to do anything illegal. I think he deep down was a good guy. But you know what? Sometimes when that badass in you, Rambo, wants to come out, you just can't help it. And if you single-handedly have to take down a whole town, city of sheriffs and people, Rambo, sometimes you just got to do it.
You got to do it. Sometimes
and that's
you do.
exactly what Vince Vaughn did here. He channeled his inner Rambo.
Exactly.
And he whooped some ass.
And what I really like about this movie, too, is the journey along the way. I think this movie really... This and Dragged Across Concrete, I think, almost feel like a separate type of movie. Bone Tomahawk is just innately a Western and definitely has, styles, the brutal violence and different kind of directive photography things. What's the fucking word? Cinematographical?
Photography?
Jamie, can you look that up for us?
Is photography, is that a real word? Photography?
Whatever. The visuals that they do for the movie, very similar, but these 2 movies are very deliberate. They linger a lot in conversations where they let people really have natural conversations, not necessarily moving the story along, but really kind of gets you to feel out what this person's personality is like, not just Vince Vaughn, but even some of the side characters as well. Really like it a lot. Has some extended driving scenes where it's literally just Vince Vaughn driving and music playing, and it will just cut there for like 3 to 5 minutes. So, I mean, at some points, I guess some people would feel like it would drag in that regard. For me, I didn't think it dragged at all. I thought it worked really well, thought it moved along really well, and they pepper in enough crazy shit to keep you invested, one of which is what the kidnappers essentially threaten to do to Deb. Because they do find out that she is pregnant.
Yeah. I would not want that.
No. So essentially what the dealer says is you have to kill this guy in cell block 99 who's like a rival drug dealer leader kind of guy, kingpin, so to say. If you don't, we're essentially going to perform an abortion slowly on your wife's baby. Yeah. And it's
very slow.
It is so dark and so intense, but
and they literally have this guy hires the king of abortions. He is literally known as
I forgot they did kind of tee him up like that.
Yeah, like for a guy who's in this movie for like a total of a minute throughout little scenes. Yeah. They really hype this guy up and make him he's badass abortionist. Halloween costume that you guys might want to try out for this upcoming year.
It's, probably going to be popular in the liberal states, I would imagine. Not so much the Southeast where we are. But yeah, so I mean, it just gets really dark and brutal from there. Obviously, it gives him the motivation that he's like, he just goes one track mind. He's like, well, I got to do this, so I'm going to do whatever I have to and essentially hurt whoever I have to get there. Just smashes in his cellmate, goes to the yard, destroys a couple of not only inmates but also a couple guards as well.
Yeah, it's one of those great scenes where usually the new guy comes into the yard and everybody's like, oh, you stay away from these guys, and then he stays away from them, but those guys are dickheads and they come over and pick a fight with him anyway. Oh no, this is the exact opposite, where it's like, you should stay away from those guys, and he just kind of gives a nod and he's like, perfect, I know exactly where I'm heading then. And he just starts whooping ass,
beating the shit out of them, snapping arms, snapping legs. Beat the shit out of some guards too. And what I love too, just Vince Vaughn the whole time. He has a few monologues here and there, which is also kind of cornerstone, I think, of this director and writer style is a lot of people just kind of venting or just doing these long drawn monologues where we really get a sense of their viewpoint. And a lot of them are controversial, and I'm going to go into that a little bit more in Dragged Across Concrete, where I think it's a little more overt. But yeah, so Vince Vaughn, the whole time, he's just this kind of even-keeled guy who has these, spouts of temper and violence. Naturally, I would imagine from being a boxer and obviously the situation. And finally, at the end, after this whole journey where he's, gone through the drug deal, it's gone bad, had these threats with his wife, he's just at the end, finally, he has made it to cell block 99.
Finally. And
for the last 15 to 20 minutes of this movie, he's just
whooping ass.
Whooping ass in a crazy, crazy way. So he doesn't just, kill someone. He, for instance, curb stomps a guy just on flat concrete. It's not really a curb. Just smashes his head in with his boot.
Badass.
And then drags the guy's face for a good few feet just on the ground, and it is super graphic.
I forgot about that.
I think it's one of the.
How do I forget about that?
I don't know.
I remember
it's the most violent part of the movie.
It's the most violent. Yeah, that's worse when they cut the guy than when they rip the guy in half. In my opinion, that's like you don't see as much.
I don't know, man. Because I think with the drag, it was only a few seconds because it really just showed him dragging. Obviously, the sound was really brutal too.
Yeah. What's worse, when he smashes the guy's head in and drags him across the floor, or American History X when he actually curb stomps the guy?
Oh, definitely. This Brawl in Cell Block 99, way more graphic.
Way more graphic. What would in real life? What is worse? I think I'd rather have him smash, because I feel like that guy's dead. If you smash my face in,
I think the guy was dead before he dragged him.
Yeah, I think I'd rather have my face smashed in than have the jaw thing just does and put my teeth on there. I'm a teeth. You know where I am with teeth.
It gives me goosebumps just thinking about it.
Quick segue, ladies, because this totally fits into what we're talking about. If you don't have good teeth, get them right.
Oh, yeah.
Gentlemen, we like the nice white pearly whites.
Look, everybody got that stimulus check. Why don't you stimulate your fucking teeth and make them look nice, you yellow-stained bitch?
Yep. And on that note, we also actually have our own orthodontics that we are opening next week. Come on by, and we'll be happy to throw some railroad tracks on your mouth.
Yeah, absolutely. 2 untrained professional orthodontists. Come on by. We'll really help you out.
I fucking had my braces on for so long. I think I'm like an honorary. Like how at colleges you're like an honorary doctorate or whatever the hell that they have because you spoke and really just because you're famous.
Absolutely.
I think I spent enough money and I was there enough and I teared up enough. Honorary orthodontist.
Okay. I mean, look, I myself, I got braces. I had them for 1 year, and they fixed everything.
I myself
I got no issues with them, and I definitely don't want to be an orthodontist. I have no interest in practicing orthodontistry.
We really segued off, but it's got to be said now. My orthodontist,
oh God,
Miss Jill Bailey.
Whoa,
absolute fucking smoke show.
Okay,
I hope, and I don't know if she's single. She was married at the time. I know that she was not married for a period of time after that. Not going to say what happened, but Jill Bailey, if you are listening.
Yeah, if this makes it to you.
I'm available. And my teeth look great thanks to you.
Boom. We got shouts on the podcast for Jill Bailey, MMS, whatever they're for. I don't know what they're fucking thing is.
I don't know either. DMS.
DDS, one of those
DM
things.
me, girl.
Oh, look at that.
Woo-hoo.
From Brawl in Cell Block 99 to Can You Fix My Canines, we made it all the way to teeth.
And I'm once again aroused.
Boom. That table really is rocking over there. So just overall for this movie to come back to it,
so the guy's face is smashed in.
Just smashed in. And then it's he just murks these dudes. So it's basically it almost just looks like a hangout when he comes across the scene. So he's kind of the odd guy out in this cell block, and the cell block is awful. I mean, they have like broken glass all over the ground. It's a torture chamber essentially that Don Johnson, who's the warden, who is just sadistic and basically like, you are not going to fuck with me, and if you do, I'm going to make your life a living hell. And really does. Broken glass all over the floor. The mattresses are non-existent. It's an awful place. But all these drug, kingpins and his kind of followers just sit back and basically, hold on, you have something to say. What?
Jill Bailey. Smoke, dude. I knew she was going to pop up right away. She's doing orthodontics in D.C. now. Damn, Jill.
All right.
That's a long way for me to go.
This is not weird at all. So, yeah, he comes across this drug kingpin who's chilling with all his homies, and he's basically like, hey, where's this guy? Where's, Escobar, whatever the fuck his name is? And they're like, what's it to you? And he's like, all right, well, I'm just going to kill all of you. One of you must be him. And proceeds to do so. Murders every single one of them by hand. Again, crushes the guy, drags him, and then finally gets to the kingpin. And there's this part, I guess, in the corner of the cell block that used to be where a toilet was.
Oh, yeah.
And there's an open toilet hole, and he basically drags the kingpin over it, sets his head in the open toilet hole, and decapitates him by just kicking his head through the hole.
Yeah. Badass. And I will say that part, if I remember, they don't show a lot. Yeah, it's not super graphic.
It's not. I mean, it's definitely graphic, but it's not like the face dragging.
The face smash, face drag.
Yeah, so
that's big time.
Again, a big, obviously, reason why it's called Brawl in Cell Block 99. That's kind of how the movie ends. That's the climax, is this fight in this cell block where he eventually kills the drug dealer.
Yep. Overall, though, fantastic movie.
Yep.
I'm trying to think if I have like any things that I maybe would have rather seen. Again, this was the first one that we saw. It definitely got me. I was in on this director after we saw this.
Yep. Same.
My favorite thing though, and it could just be because I got a soft spot for him. I loved Vince Vaughn as the man. Like, it was just great seeing him play a new role. He played this super well. The action scenes, the choreography on the action scenes are awesome because they're all just hand-to-hand combat for the most part. But it's very realistic hand-to-hand combat. You don't get like a fight scene that goes on for 5 minutes. Like, nope, it's pretty quick. A couple exchanges are thrown, and then Vinny has had his way with whoever was in front of him.
Pretty much, yeah. It's always just about like, how can I get this guy in a quick armbar, and then snap, and you're out of the way.
Broken.
So yeah, move on to the next one. So yeah, I mean, I really like this movie. It's a fuck yeah for me.
Fuck yeah,
Watch
for sure.
it.
Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 91. So I'm going there right with Rotten Tomatoes. It's not rotten. I go 91.
91 out of 100.
9.1
out of 10. Yeah. IMDb 7.1. I think that's extremely low. I wrote down that I'd give it an 8.5, 8.5. I think it's really solid. And yeah, it also got me in on this director, and I was, I think it's also available on Prime. I believe that's where we watched it. If you don't have Prime, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, Amazon has taken over the world. Also, really I guess that's a good quick hit on. Jeff Bezos is going to be a trillionaire. Yeah. Like, I can't even fathom that. Like, we were just talking the other day about, like, people who have, well, we weren't talking the other day. This doesn't actually come up in conversation very often. Nah. But, super rich people have like $50 billion, $60 billion. Like, that's just crazy.
A few billion.
A couple billion. Trump, is at like $6 billion or something like that.
Yeah, I would say
super rich. This guy is about to literally have 1,000 times the amount of money as a billionaire. That's wild.
Yeah.
Wild.
It's crazy.
Like, $1 trillion just doesn't compute. That's one of those things where it's like, oh, cool, you're a zillionaire. Like, now just make up words for you.
It's like when they say the national debt counter. It's like, it's 270 trillion. I'm like, that's a made up number.
Yeah, I'm like, okay.
Let me check my geometry on that one.
Yeah, like, you guys are giving us a number to make it really obvious that, hey, it's a big number.
Yeah, we have a lot of money. Do you get it? And we owe a lot.
Yeah, I feel like
tactics.
Bezos, he's a Bezos-inaire. That didn't come out very good. It almost came out like billionaire again.
I'm gonna give a no thanks to whatever the fuck that was. A Bezos-inaire?
A Bezos-inaire.
That sounds like a fucking wind instrument.
Benzo-inaire.
Benzo-inaire. Now that is
that
something.
Actually could work. Yeah, that is something.
That's right.
How much money are you worth? A benzo.
Oof. Boy. So you just have a car's worth of money. Great. Congrats. Wow, that was a great tangent. I'm so glad we made it to Bezos-inaire. That's a T-shirt. We're making T-shirts. Bezos-inaire.
Yeah, the man, he's rich enough. He should get to come up with his own like verbiage for how much money he has.
I totally agree with that. I hope to God he doesn't say it. Bezos-inaire. Oh yeah,
he says like a beignet. Like, oh, I went down to the French Quarter in New Orleans the other day and I got a beignet.
Yeah. He's going to come out with his own currency called the Bezos, and then all the Mexicans are going to be like, Pesos?
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 He doesn't have that much money.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Well, from there, let's get into the last movie from this director, written and directed by Craig. 2018, Dragged Across Concrete, starring Vince Vaughn and Mel Gibson. I would say Mel Gibson top cast, Vince Vaughn, his supporter. Also a couple, other people of note. Jennifer Carpenter, Deb, makes another appearance. Brief appearance, as you find out.
Yep,
Don Johnson returns as the police chief. Not returns. He's just the police chief. He was the warden last time.
Yeah.
Other than that, kind of, relatively unknown people.
Yep.
But yeah, it's 2 hour, 39-minute action crime drama, 7.0 out of 10 on IMDb. Let's go into the synopsis here. Basically, it centers on two policemen. Mel Gibson, he's kind of an old timer, and then his partner is Vince Vaughn, who's a little bit younger, a little more volatile. Find themselves suspended when a video of their kind of strong arm tactics that they pull on this Mexican guy they suspect of stowing away drug money. Hector. Shouts out to Hector.
Yeah, we need to shout this guy out. This is.
I'm gonna go to the full cast. I want to shout this guy out. Well, hold on. Let me get through the premise and then we'll shout him out. So they strong arm. They essentially break his nose on.
It's some BS. Yeah,
it's kind of some BS.
He turns his head. A couple people caught it on.
He breaks his nose. Yeah, but
it's not nice.
It's not nice, but So this video gets released. The media goes crazy over it, and they end up saying that, hey, you're going to go on a 6-week suspension for police brutality. Essentially, from that point, Mel Gibson, he's low on cash. I believe his wife have cancer. No, his wife has MS.
Yeah, his wife has MS, and he has a daughter.
And he has a daughter who's getting abused by. Yeah, he's in a really bad part of town. His daughter constantly gets abused, so he really needs money not only for his wife's medical bills, but also to get out of the area so they can.
He's got to move elsewhere.
Feel safe, and it is revealed that Mel Gibson is just a smidge of, I would say, prejudiced against minorities.
I would agree.
Perhaps
with that.
a tad racist. So, no other options. He decides that he is going to try and steal money from this super crazy rich drug kingpin guy, and then enlists Vince Vaughn to help him with this overall plan. Vince Vaughn also needs money. I think actually his wife has maybe cancer.
Yes,
because
his wife. He's getting married. And marriages and weddings are cheap.
Expensive.
Yep. Mel lets him know it ain't cheap, bro. Yeah.
And I said drunk kingpin. These guys are actually like bank robbers and like but not your typical bank robbers. They're like badass SWAT bank robbers.
They got that shit on lockdown. They know what they're doing.
Yeah. So essentially their plan, Mel Gibson and Vince Vaughn, is to stake these guys out, figure out what their plan is to get the next score, and then essentially rip them off from that score. The villains in this movie are fantastic.
Yep, super badass.
There's one guy who you never see his face. He's always wearing some sort of like tack helmet.
Yeah.
The man is out of his mind.
Yeah.
He's crazy. He starts out, when you're introduced to him, he walks into a convenience store to rob it of just the cash register, but he's got a fucking like MP5 machine gun.
Yeah. He looks like, the best way to describe it for those of you who used to or still play Call of Duty, if you remember Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4 wet work when they're on the ship and they're in the all black unis and it's kind of like, it to help them also swim. That's what this guy looks like. It looks like he's like a SWAT Navy SEAL guy who just got out of the water and climbed like into your blow up air raft.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's a perfect description of him. But he kills people for no reason. It seems
no reason whatsoever.
He just shoots the clerk of the gas station and then shoots a guy a guy walks in, just a regular civilian, while he's robbing this place, and he kneecaps him
first.
Then shoots him in the head.
Yep.
Then turns around, kills the gas station clerk, and just takes the money that's in the register. It's probably like $80.
$80, yeah.
If that.
Seems like he just needed a little bit of cash. Maybe some gas money.
Yeah, absolutely insane. And he does it a couple times, a few different points. But, I mean, I dug this movie. I think it's
fantastic.
Great. It is long.
Yep, you definitely need to be able to say, hey, I'm ready to watch a Lord of the Rings movie, but I'm not in the mood to watch, fantasy. So I guess I'll go more real life.
It's very, everything is very drawn out. I can't really say that it didn't feel slow to me.
No, it didn't.
There were definitely scenes that I was like,
you can
okay,
move them along.
what's going to happen now? And then nothing would really happen. But I think overall, when I finished the movie, just my thoughts on each character, how they progress and everything, and how that was developed through those like conversations in the stakeout. Mel Gibson and Vince Vaughn spend half the movie just in their car waiting for something to happen.
Yep.
Just talking amongst themselves. You really get a glimpse into Mel Gibson's way of thinking, Vince Vaughn's as well, and kind of his duality with the whole idea that they're breaking the law that they upheld.
Yep.
Go into, more of their prejudices as well. You get a really in-depth look on these two black guys that get enlisted into the robbery with the more professional guys, that it's really implied throughout they're just going to kill these two when they get done with the crime.
Obvious then,
and they try to,
Yep.
and they almost do. But it's really good, even though these guys are going to be turned on or probably will die. Just the conversations that they have are really interesting.
Yep. No, very, and I think you hit it right on the head. Like when I think back to it, the movie, it wasn't fast by any means, but it just didn't really feel slow. It moved at about the right pace for the movie.
Yeah.
The last 45 minutes is fantastic because it's
Yep.
all kind of like that end setting where they're, figuring out how things are going to end up with the movie, but it's all literally like it's the same like 4 camera shots kind of back and forth.
Yeah.
It's just very, very good. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, I'm trying to like.
I kind of was thinking just now, honestly, I would almost compare the scenes where they have these conversations close to like a Jackie Brown for Tarantino, because that movie is very conversational, not a ton of action, but kind of intermittent. Obviously, this is a little bit more hardcore and violent at times.
I know. I think that's a really good comparison. I even think when you throwing that out, I almost think of like, obviously not as good a movie, but like Inglourious Bastards, that dialogue where it's like, I mean, they have 15, 20 minute 2 people sitting there dialogue scenes,
in
and
French.
half of the dialogue just doesn't have anything to do with the movie.
True.
But it fits where it's like, oh, we'll just beef up this dialogue and have them talk. Yeah.
That's
like
a
that's
great
what I
point.
think it kind of was like.
Yeah, that's
very good.
That's right on. Yeah, but I mean, the poor Deb.
Oh yeah.
Poor
we
Deb.
got a spoiler alert.
So
But
spoiler. I mean,
this whole thing's a spoiler.
It really is, and I would say honestly, for this particular scene, watch the movie.
Yeah.
Because to not have it spoiled and to have it just happen is so fucking crazy. So essentially, Deb is introduced into the movie as this mother who is leaving for work, comes back after she's like on the bus because she's like, oh, I forgot something. And you're like, okay, what the fuck is she about? She comes back, her apartment is locked, and her husband is calling out from inside. That's basically revealed that she has just had a baby not too long ago. She's used all of her like PTO, her sick days, her maternity leave. Yeah. Everything's been exhausted. This is finally the first day she has to go, and she's just having that separation anxiety.
Yeah.
So after, I mean, it's a good 3 to 4 minute scene of her going back and forth with her husband, and great scene. And the whole time I was like, how's this going to fit into the story? So the next time you see her she is a bank employee.
Yep. She basically runs this super nice bank. Like they are literally worshiping her feet basically when she gets back, and they're like, "Thank God you're here."
Oh, this guy really sucks her tits when she comes back in. He's like, "It is so glorious to see you again. Oh, we were nothing without you.
I am the father."
Yeah. Yeah, that's really the actual twist. But yeah, she gets back to the bank, and then immediately you find out that this is the day, this is the bank that the criminals that Vince Vaughn and Mel Gibson have been trailing and waiting on. This is the time that they are going to rob the bank. And you already know, because you've seen multiple times, that one of them will murder without cause or reason. These dudes are badass and not to be fucked with.
Yep.
Well, Deb runs into another gentleman in the bank who is very close to a keyboard that has basically typed out an email like, oh, we're being robbed, send help. After the bank robbers have basically said, like, don't move. We're going to kill you if you move or try anything remotely, so don't fuck around.
Yeah.
Well, then they cast Deb to put, like, hand ties on everyone. She goes over to this dude, and he's, like, motioning towards the keyboard, and she's like, no, I ain't trying to get shot right now. Don't you fucking do it. And he's like, well, fuck you. I'm going to go for it.
Yeah.
He leans over to try and send the email. She I really don't understand why she did this, but she like
she's gonna like stop him, like hit his hand from doing it.
She like leaps to smack his hand away, but obviously in turn just kind of like falls over onto the ground, making a huge scene that the bank robbers immediately notice.
Oh, and if you forget, too,
oh shit! No, I did forget.
They blast her hands off.
Yeah, so
when
essentially
she makes her move.
She goes to like smack his hand away. I did forget about that. She goes to smack it away, and then the dude just fires off like 10 rounds and just obliterates her fingers.
Hands. Yep, got
her fingers are gone, and then she spends like 20 seconds basically being like, just make it quick.
Yeah,
essentially, and then when I say blow her head off, I, in full meaning of the word, mean they blow her head off.
The way that it is shot, I'm glad that we brought this up because I would have never thought of it. The way that it is shot is the equivalent of in Inglourious Basterds when they're blasting Adolf Hitler's head just nonstop.
Yeah.
That is exactly what they do in this movie.
That combined with like Django, whenever a bullet hits and it's literally an explosion, that's what happens to her head.
Yeah.
They riddle it with bullets and then it's just BAM!
Yeah,
off.
just wild.
She gets 5 minutes of like screen time in this movie.
And then gone.
It's nuts.
The perfect amount that she should have had.
Exactly. Yeah.
He did. He knew who he cast.
It's great
we
scene.
all cheered.
We did.
It was
the best. It was the best like twist. Never saw it coming. It was crazy.
Good luck writing with those.
Right. But so just real quick, because I think we probably should wrap up soon. One of the things that I really noticed in this movie too, just kind of leading up with Mel Gibson and Vince Vaughn to get back to their characters, is they do a pretty good job of characterizing Mel Gibson as this guy who's just been in law enforcement and through the whole process has really become this like prejudiced, racist guy who's kind of a piece of shit.
It's like Serpico.
Yeah, exactly like Serpico. And like even in the neighborhood that he's run, so he says these crazy things, and I think it's really poetic for the very end of the movie, which I'll get to. But I did also want to touch on the fact that it's called Dragged Across Concrete. Basically what that is in reference to is at the end of the movie, Mel Gibson and Vince Vaughn happen upon the scene where the bank robbers are going to kill these two black guys that they've enlisted to help. One of the black guys gets away, and Vince Vaughn and Mel Gibson upend the truck that they're in. They basically come flying into the scene in their car, smash into the side of these bank robbers' armored truck, flip them over, throw it in reverse. And meanwhile, the bank robbers have had this woman kidnapped and in their possession like the entire time. Well, Mel Gibson starts screaming off, like, hey guys, come out now. We'll let you go. We just want the money and the diamonds. Just get the fuck out of here. And Vince Vaughn's posted up with a sniper rifle under their car just waiting for somebody to pop out. Well, they send the woman out. And they don't just send her out. She's got no shoes, in a skirt, so bare legs, and she literally crawls like a few hundred feet between the cars.
It's a long ways.
And not like a dog walk. No, she literally drags her knees and legs across the concrete that they're on the full way. Yeah. And
ouch.
It's not like super graphic, but the sound is definitely turned up to where you feel it kind of in your bones.
It hurts.
This movie overall I don't think is like super graphic other than, Deb's head being blown off.
Yeah, she had that coming though.
She really did. But this woman goes all the way and Vince Vaughn eventually leans over to help her and she pulls out a gun.
Deuce.
And shoots Vince Vaughn.
Deuce.
And he's dead.
Deuce.
Mel Gibson kills the woman.
Bitch.
Ends up running in, killing all the bank robbers.
Yep.
But who do you know comes back? But the black guy who got away.
Always. And he's just hiding. He's just watching.
Yep. And I think this ties in perfectly to kind of his racism and puts a nice bow on the end. And I think that's why I saw a lot of criticism that this movie is like right-wing propaganda.
Not even
because of their thoughts. I think this actually shows really well of how that turns on him because at the very end, he strikes a deal with the black guy that's basically we're going to split this 60-40, gives the other guy more. But the whole time after, the last 10 minutes of the movie is these guys just dumping the bodies and trying to get away with the money because the whole time you're like, they both have guns. One of them is going to pull it and kill the other one. And basically, Mel Gibson makes the mistake, shows his racism, and he pulls a gun on the guy, holds it to his neck while they're in the same vehicle, passenger and driver's seat, and is like, I just don't trust you, man. I just don't trust you. And the black guy dodges his gun, pulls out his own, pops Mel Gibson a few times.
Yep.
And that's all she wrote.
And there it is.
Great thing is the black guy does come through on his promise to Mel Gibson, sends the money back to his wife and his daughter. So everything, honestly, I mean, it has a happy ending for, as much as he can.
It does.
In this story. Really, really like this movie, though.
No, it was fantastic. This movie was great. All the movies, they're great. I definitely think, as we've just gone through and, painted you guys a beautiful Bob Rossian picture with some happy trees in the background. Actually, there's no happy trees in any of these movies.
Yeah.
With some sad trees, some depressed trees in the background. During this quarantine time, I can't think of a better time for you guys to give these movies a watch.
Yeah,
so,
and you should, for sure. Again,
another yeah for me.
Yeah, an absolute yeah for me. This is sitting at a 7 out of 10 on IMDb. I'd give it more of an 8.
Yeah,
I think it's more of an 8 vibe.
This movie was great.
Yeah, it's if you get bored in long movies, I would say don't watch it because it's not for you.
Yep.
But really enjoyed it.
Yep. If you actually are looking to watch a real movie, something that just is going to kind of catch you and hold your entertainment, and it's also real enough. This is right what you're looking for. So definitely, like I say, I give it a hail yeah. Hail yeah.
Awesome. Well, yeah, that wraps it up on all the movies by S. Craig Zahler, as we like to call him. Definitely let us know if you've seen this movie, comments-wise. Let us know what you think. Let us know if you think he's a giant racist who writes it into his movies, like everybody on Twitter.
Yep.
The 3 tweets that I saw thought he was. But no, we really dug
I
it.
had 3 of those. 3 out of 3.
Yeah, I didn't want to say it's all from your profile.
Honestly, the whole reason we've been doing this is just so I can now hop up on my soapbox and go into 30 minutes about how this man is a huge prejudiced racist.
Yep, exactly. So I'm going to get off the mic so that Zach can do that, so you guys enjoy that rant, but no. So yeah, next week we'll be back. I believe we are going to touch on the movies and film styling of another gentleman who I don't know how to pronounce his name, but I try. Taika Waititi.
Yes, that's how I said it. That's how I would say it.
Yeah. So we're going to get into his movies. Another director I know that we really respect, and we're going to break down kind of his movies just throughout his career and where he's at now as well. So
I think that you guys will recognize some of his films a little bit more, and definitely excited to get into those. So, again, let us know if there's anything you guys want to hear us talk about.
Definitely.
We're here for the fans. And of those fans specifically, Jill Bailey, look me up. All right? I'm here for it.
Jill Bailey, if you would like to call into the podcast, I will make it happen. I would love
I'll tell you right now, this table will flip in Zach Israelson arousal if that happens.
Yeah,
watch yourself, Turtle.
We can't
get yourself a hard hat.
Oh, I believe you'll take care of the hard part for me. So yeah, guys, thanks for tuning in. We'll definitely be back next week and talk to you then. This has been no thanks.
No thanks.
Yep. Nope.